Best way I can explain this is, if you remember when we talked about consecutive first inversion triads, those are very hard to write, SATB, but I said if you go to a 3-part harmony, then it's very easy. You can just have parallel first inversion triads all over the place. And I should write them as parallel first inversion, right? And the fact that the outer voices have a 6th, the inner voices a 3rd and a 4th, we don't hear the parallels, so you can just go any direction. So Debussy took this one step further and said, what if I wrote a piece where all of the triads, I treat them like I can just have parallel fifths and octaves all over the place. So, in other words, instead of having one parallel octave here and one parallel fifth here, where your ear goes, that must be a mistake because I hear a parallel fifth. What if I have parallel fifths everywhere so the ear gets used to them and doesn't consider them a mistake anymore? So let's try that. So we have a chord. So if I want to move, there's all kinds of parallels. So consistent, after a while you ignore them because it can't be a mistake. They're always doing that. That's called pandiatonicism, but it's easy to remember the nickname planing. Now, when you plane chords, Debussy found out right away you could plane in opposite directions. You could have the right and the left hand playing instead of both going up or both going down. You could have so he was kind of going like this, and he found that out in a piece. We have an example from it called The Sunken Cathedral. I guess we don't. He was imagining Atlantis or some civilization that a flood flooded the entire civilization, and that they had once had a giant cathedral, a big church, and now it was sitting underwater.
379, is that it? The cathedral,
yeah,
in Ingluti.
Oh, okay. Yeah, 379.
When it goes.
That's the engulfed cathedral. And yeah, if you look at the top of page 380, which is the engulfed cathedral, and you see that there's some planing there. But here's what Debussy was doing. He was doing almost a visual thing, trying to do a visual thing with the ear. Okay, he's imagining a sunken cathedral. So water on the top, you take a rock or something, you drop it, you know, there's rings. So that's the planing. So at the beginning of this piece, he actually planes. He starts with a chord and he planes it out and out. And it gets softer and softer and softer. The way that when you drop something in water, the rings get smaller and smaller and smaller. And it's really quite an interesting idea. He has this visual of something dropping in the water, and he turns it into music with planing.
Lean on Me start with a bunch of parallels?
Yes, that's planing. It's exactly pandiatonicism. That is pandiatonicism. Good, you heard that parallel? So that was just conventional chord, just regular triads, but he's playing them so the voice leading's not right, but the same way that a Faubourg parallel first inversion, the voice leading is suspended. He does this. And he didn't have to do it with nice sounding chords, he also did it with maybe diminished chords or whatever he felt like. And then they give us some examples of that. Okay, the next idea he experimented with, page 379, quartal and quintal harmony. 379. Now, we build our triads in thirds. So Debussy said, what would happen if I built a triad? It wouldn't in fourths, like a perfect fourth. So it would be hard to analyze. You couldn't analyze it in traditional harmony. You'd have to recognize that it was built in fourths. Now, the fourths one, I heard this in some TV show, they used to do this.
Law and Order?
What?
Law and Order?
Yes, I think
Maybe.
I think that, yeah.
so. I think
And
it
it's
is.
an easy one because the fourth, it leaves you hanging, so you'll come back after the commercial. New Age has picked up on building chords in fifths. And New Age usually does it very quietly. They'll have the piano kind of going. So that's all perfect fifths. So you hear lots of New Age music fifths. So that's, if it's built in fourths, it's
Yeah.
called quintal harmony. If it's built in fifths, it's called quartal harmony is fourths, quintal harmony is fifths. And the chords don't necessarily need to be all spread out. You can have like something like this. That's actually a quintal. You have C, D, G, A. To see that it's quintal, you have to go the C to the G, and then up to the D, and up to the A. But this is a chord you'll very often see in New Age music. And then the people playing guitar, there's no guitar chord for that. They say, well, it's kind of like a C with an added sixth and an added second. I said, yeah, that's as close as you get. But it's actually quintal.
How do you progress it? You know, how do you?
There are no rules on that.
Okay.
It's all done by ear. As far as I know, quartal tends to want to, any of the fourths will want to pull down a half step. And that comes from traditional harmony, where we go something like you go up a fourth, and pulls down, or you go up two perfect fourths. So for some reason, the fourths, I think because we build our music in thirds, and when you hear all these fourths, they all want to go down a half step. So you can really pick any of them and then bring any of them down a half step.
Okay.
But as far as the rules, I don't know that I've ever seen a theory or part writing or anything as far as quintal or quartal harmony. It's just every composer just kind of does it by ear. Aaron Copland, modern composer, died a decade and some change ago. Appalachian Spring, it's not quartal, he uses traditional chords, but some of the solo instruments like the flute will just go. So it's four perfect fourths in a row and then a half step down. So he does have both quartal and quintal influence, although the music's not totally quartal or quintal. So Debussy experimented with the fact that when you build these chords, you get some sounds that the audience is not expecting. If you look at figure 13.16, this is a nice example because you can see the quintal pretty easily. And then we saw top of page 380. Another experiment of Debussy's was adding a tone to an existing triad. Now this is